Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another live stream here today. There's like all these different little metas going on in the chat. It's just can't even keep up with the stuff. Is there a live stream every day? No, there's not live streams every day. At one point there was live streams every day, but it's not. Most weeknights it should be, and then Sunday mainly. So 6 days normally, but I don't really. Sometimes I'm gonna miss streaming. Yes, what's up, man? What's up? I was waiting for the AP poll to come out, man. It was so guys, please like the stream. That's very important. I've heard that if I want the stream to get bigger, people have to like it. I don't know. I mean, but you keep thinking today is Monday. And well, if you had off yesterday, that's normally how it goes. Trump attending the Yankees game on September 11th. He's utilized, I wouldn't say utilized, but he's done this a few times with sporting events where it's like an important moment. Remember, he went to the college football games last year in the swing states. But this is more of a symbolic, patriotic thing to go to the Yankees game on September 11th. Does disliking the stream do anything? It would probably negatively affect the algorithm. To what degree? A single dislike, probably not much at all. Dude, what even is that? I'm not even sure what that is, bro. Will he throw out the first pitch? No, it would have been reported if he would throw out the first pitch. George W. Bush, great first pitch. Got to give him credit. Yankees and Mets should play every year on September 11th. Next year they're playing. Did you see that? I saw it was announced that next year they're playing. Yeah, they really should do that. I think that would be good for the sport in general. Kind of as a symbolic thing, the two New York teams facing each other. That right around September 11th or on September 11th. It's likely Trump will launch strikes in Venezuela after the midterms. He might do it before the midterms. I mean, they're gearing up to do it right now, it feels like. But I don't know, maybe they might just be getting positioning. Did you see Tim Walz saying Trump will die? Yeah, Tim Walz had a very weird clip where he was trying to be like an edgy liberal, and it's just like, you're a politician, dude. It's pathetic. It's like he's like, oh, Trump might die, or people were hoping. He was like, he hinted at it like in a cryptic way, but everyone knew that he was talking about, well, maybe Trump will die. And it's just like, really, dude. You were like gods in a young man's body. That's I appreciate that. That's very nice. It's a very nice compliment. The Secret Service take over the stadium security if he go. Yeah, there'll probably be an entire different setup for security at the specific game that he goes to. College football fans were talking about I mean, it is an inconvenience, I believe. I guess it depends if you get to the game earlier, but there has to be some type of. But normally, this is what happens. Trump will go to the game. He'll leave in the third inning. So it tends to not be a huge issue. With those college football games, he would leave at halftime. No, I don't. I don't have a stock portfolio, man. I do not have a stock portfolio. Is Trump a Yankees fan? Well, he's from New York. I'd imagine Yankees over Mets for him. What if Trump ordered a bunch of pizzas for the college football game and gaslight everyone into thinking he died? I don't even know I don't even know what to say about that. The Epstein news. Yeah, I'll get to the Epstein stuff. DeSantis says he wants to abolish property taxes. He says this every day. I mean, hopefully it happens. I think it will happen if he keeps saying it. But it's like, where are you going to supplement the money that you lose from, the property taxes? That's the question. Canada's GDP contracted. So they had a negative GDP quarter, I guess. What is this? The White House changed their LinkedIn profile? Trump is planning to address the growing threat of transgender violence. So we'll see what happens there. I'm sure that'll be spicy on both sides. Trump orders kinetic strike, military strike on Venezuelan cartels. Did you see Macron pissed at Rubio? I didn't see that, no. Having World War III fares again because of Venezuela. Now, I would relax on that. Why would a situation between the United States and Venezuela create a world war? That doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't worry about World War III over the U.S. and Venezuela and our actions in Venezuela. I don't think it would spill over into anything crazy. Nothing looked or sounded bad health-wise. Yeah, Trump looked completely normal from what we said. I mean, obviously, it's just a public appearance, but it seemed like very normal from Trump in the way in which he talked. I mean, I guess you could say the absence is a little curious, but from what we saw, he seemed completely normal. And if he's out golfing every day,
New York Buck tipped $50 through Super Chat. Trump's from Queens. Don't know which team he likes to. Go Bucks.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That's a nice donation. It's a nice $50 donation. I know you donated a few $50 donations, so I appreciate that. That was a good win for Ohio State. New York Whale. New York Whale enters. Trump has taken out 11 terrorists through a U.S. military strike against Tren de Agua narco-terrorist boat from Venezuela. Yeah, it is a war where he's going to war with the cartels in Venezuela, it looks like. Did you see Don Lemon today? Yeah, I saw that. That was a ridiculous clip.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
But it's like, this was just pure liberal myth, them thinking there was something wrong with Trump. It was reported by no one. There was no rumors anywhere. It was just because Trump had a clear calendar. That's the reason they thought, because he had a clear calendar, because he had no public appearances over the course of 2 or 3 days, they thought, well, he has to be dead. He's got a bruise on his palm. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of let's see this.
You had an opportunity to ask the president today about this, and you did not. Why?
Well, because when he got on the phone and sounded very much alive, I thought it would sound kind of stupid, frankly, to ask an alive person if they were dead. But I'll tell you who is a complete piece of shit. I'm going to tell you right now.
There have been a lot of swear words at this
Tim
table today.
Walz,
Okay.
the governor of Minnesota, holding up a phone in front of a rally saying, Well, we thought we were going to wake up and find out the president had died. Someday it'll happen. Someday it'll happen. I used to say he was the biggest buffoon in American politics, but it's worse now.
Yeah, Scott Jennings has a show, and he was talking to Trump today.
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
Dude, Pritzker is trying to act hard. Oh, it's so pathetic. And then the Democrat, they have to spin it somehow. Well, Trump is the one giving all of them guns, and they're all illegal guns anyways. It's like, dude, any way to not blame yourselves for crime issues, it's an automatic deflection. You don't know if you have ever heard of the channel, but Live on Patrol is a Twin City-based PD that streams patrols live, and they're saying how Somalian gangs are getting bad. There's no place for that, man. Why don't they go ask him, how did you get here? Through Biden's temporary visa policy. How did you get... Dude, there's a lot of bad stuff happening in the UK. It's just... I'm not in just in Europe in general. I mean, Musk is really highlighting it. It's hard to really gauge on how bad it really is, but people say it's even worse than they're saying, and I've heard a lot of the statistics are flubbed, and I've seen some really horror stories on some killings that have happened. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, the propaganda goes, but I don't see... It is very obvious that Europe is turning right-wing. They're kind of forced to. They have no other choice. Either turn right-wing or be replaced. That's Europe's choices, so... Did you see Musk talk about the trans issue? No. Matt, thank you. 9 dead plus 50 wounded in Chicago this past weekend. Yeah, well, it's like that every weekend, and they talk to Pritzker about that, and he deflects, of course. Yeah, like 30 minutes ago, they just said how there are armed gangs of like 100 Somalians. Really? How's that not getting any coverage? Or maybe it is, and I'm not seeing it. Armed gangs of 100 Somalians in Minnesota. I mean, that's what this modern liberalism creates. That's multiculturalism. It's importing people, diversity. Did you hear about the 6 right-wing German politicians who suddenly died of heart attacks right before the German elections? Yeah, they were part of the AFD, weren't they? I thought it was 4. Yeah, I heard of that. They said it wasn't, they said it was, they weren't going to investigate it, or they didn't think it was anything bad. There was anything malicious by it. I mean, obviously, I'd have to look into it, but that seems ridiculous. Worst city to live in America? Probably Gary, Indiana. What would you say is the easiest to get drafted in the Big 4 sports leagues? Well, baseball is the easiest to get drafted. There's so many rounds. Football, there's 7 rounds. Basketball, there's 2 rounds. Hockey, I think there's 2 rounds. Baseball, there's like 70 rounds or some shit. Check the Don Lemon clip. Yeah, let's see if it's on here. Oh my god, CNN called Trump a fascist? Holy hell, dude. I'm gonna have to brush up on my boomerism. This is a 3-minute... This is a... I mean... Like, what is the point of this? Just such a waste of time.
We're here with the folks to see the Congresswoman. Yeah. unavailable right now. I'm so sorry about
Is she in?
that. You guys can contact their office at a different time if you guys would like a meeting with the congresswoman.
Okay.
Can we leave word for her?
Sure, you guys can pass along the comment.
Yeah, we would like to make sure that she knows that we need to get Donald Trump impeached and out of office. My name is Carlos Alvarez Arantes. I'm the founder of American Opposition. I'm sure you've seen the protests on the streets and the Tesla boycott and all of that. We were one of the organizations that started that. This is Jessica Benson with the removal commission.
So I'm going to have to ask you to stop recording. This is a private office.
Yes, and we're here to see the congresswoman.
You're not residents of our district and you haven't requested a
Yes,
meeting.
well, we're here requesting a meeting.
Well, again, your group is still recording, and if you continue to
Well,
So they come in, there's like 30 of them. They've got 7 cameras. They say, hey, now we want to have a meeting totally unscheduled with MTG because we're going to impeach Trump. Like, this is accomplishing nothing. It's a complete waste of time. Trump's not being impeached. They know it. Look at Congress. This is attention seeking. Look at me. We're doing something. We've got 40 cameras coming in here. And then when someone tells them to get the fuck out, they're like, we're not doing anything. We just want to set up a meeting. We just want a meeting. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. So we're just what a waste of time. And these are like these people are doing something great. They're right. They all have jobs. We're gonna go talk. We're gonna go in with 20 cameras into a small room to try and get MTG to come out. There's no meeting scheduled. Then it's just, oh, we just want to have a meeting. There's only 20 of us in this little room here. That's all we're trying to do. We want to set up a meeting. How, you're not gonna let us do that? Fuck out of here with that. Just a waste of time. And then you're gonna impeach Trump with what? With the House of Representatives? Yeah, of course they're not going to. It's all a publicity stunt. That right there is why Trump won. Well, there's a lot of reasons why Trump won, but I mean, that type of behavior is just nauseating to look at. It just accomplishes nothing. It's just this look at me. But dude, then I like see 3 other clips today. Trump's a fascist. Trump's a it's like I'm punch drunk from them. Just the same over and over again. And then you've got these people, and now we have to deal with this to where they're angry that Trump is deploying the National Guard, and that was announced that he's doing it. There's a bunch of clips that I'm going to go to where Trump had a press conference, and now these bozos are like, oh, Trump, he's the one that lets the guns get into the city in the first place, so it's actually his fault, not us letting the criminals out after like 5 days in the name of diversity. I mean, everyone knows they're ridiculously soft on crime. All the major cities are, all the liberal cities are. They deemed the police racist in 2020. You think that's gonna slow crime down? All right, we've got a bunch of stuff here from Trump. Yeah, I don't know what this was.
Video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residents upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated.
So
Actually, you can't open the windows. You know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video?
Well, it's got to be, because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that, because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window, I've never seen a window that's... In fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said, love to have a little fresh air come in, but you can't. They're bulletproof. And number one, they're sealed. And number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be... Where was the window? Let me see.
Maybe from the renovations.
Huh. He's trying to watch it.
Which is the window?
It looks like this is on the 15th Street side, I think.
Yeah.
So right here.
Yeah, those windows are sealed. Those windows are they're all sealed. You can't open them.
Why would someone create an AI video of that? Someone just decides to randomly create an AI video. I don't know. Look at the shadows. You know where you can tell by the shadows.
Right? Right now, right? Oh, there you go. You got it. You zoomed in.
With the background noise, I think they're at a restaurant or something. I don't know. It looks like there's like a pixelated thing. Yeah, it looks like it's like, I don't know. It looks like it moves pretty nicely. Did they retrieve what it was? I don't know why someone would create a fake video of that, but why would they be filming it? I don't know. It's strange.
In California ruled that your deployment of National Guard troops to Los Angeles was illegal. Do you have any response?
Well, it was a radical left judge, but very importantly, what did you not tell me in that question or statement that you made pretty much of a statement, I think?
Well, I was asking for your response.
No, you didn't say what the judge said, though. The judge said, but you can leave the 300 people that you already have in place. They can continue to be in place. That's all we need. But why didn't you put that as part of your statement? Because the same judge ruled exactly as you said, except the judge said that you can leave the 300 people that you already have in place. They can stay, they can remain, they can do what they have to do. Thank you very much, everybody.
I don't know.
Sir, China's having a massive military parade that President Putin and Kim Jong-un will be attending. Do you...
They're having a military raid with Putin and Kim Jong-un?
Interpret that as a challenge to this? And are you concerned at all about those countries trying to be some sort of counterweight?
Not at all. China needs us, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi, as you know, but China needs us much more than we need them. No, I don't see that at all, no.
One more.
And I had actually a very good meeting with President Putin a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if anything comes out of it.
Sir.
You know, a lot of liberals who actually believe that Trump is dead brain rot. They believe a lot more than that. They believe that Trump is, he faked that shooting. He faked the Butler shooting. They believe that Elon Musk hacked the election for Trump. I mean, but it's the blueing on people. Don't understand the bag video. Why was it I mean, I guess it's strange. People say I don't know what it is. It looked like a suit coat to me, but they said it's a bag or something. If Alabama loses to Georgia, they're not making the playoffs. Well, now if they go 10-2, they'd make the playoffs for sure. If they only lose to Georgia, they would make it, because if you're in the SEC, you go 10-2, you're gonna make it.
The problem with Colorado is they have a very corrupt voting system. Look, I have so many friends in Colorado. Anytime you have mail-in voting, you have corrupt elections. Very simple. It's very simple. Even Jimmy Carter said it with his commission. They set up a commission with him and Scoop Jackson and some people, highly regarded people. And they said the finding was, if you have mail-in voting, you will have corrupt elections. Well, your radical left governor decided that he was going to have all mail-in voting in Colorado. Once you have all mail-in voting, and for whatever reason, the Democrats cheat. And they cheat like, they're not stupid. That's the only thing. They're no good on policy. They're no good on management. They're no good at government. But they're great at cheating. And they stick together, too. I give them credit for sticking together. Please. The problem with Colorado is they have a very corrupt...
Why is Katie Britt there? Trump is headed to the Supreme Court tomorrow to overturn that ruling on the sweeping tariffs. Yeah, remember when people were making a big deal about that? I knew that's going to be overturned for sure.
where they'd like to be. But without the tariffs, we wouldn't have a chance because we wouldn't be able to protect those investments of the companies coming in. So if you took away tariffs, we could end up being a third world country. That's how big the ruling. So we're asking for an expedited ruling. Where they'd like.
Proper. What's up, man? Why does Notre Dame refuse to join a conference? And who do you think are the top 3 most iconic college football programs? Top 3 most iconic college football programs: Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. I'd say. Why does Notre Dame not want to join a conference? Well, because they have their own prestige. They do have a really good media deal to where they get 100% of the revenue. If you join a conference, you have to split it with all the other participants evenly, unless you have unequal revenue sharing, which neither the SEC or Big Ten have. So they would be splitting it with everyone. I think they get a lot more money being independent and just having they have a deal with ESPN. I think they have a deal with NBC for their home games, and then their road games are normally with ESPN or whoever the home team, the rights have it's hard to explain, but they have a deal with NBC. They make a lot of money. They don't have to share it with anyone. All the other teams, Ohio State, Michigan, they have to share it evenly, the TV deal that they have, basically. But also for them, it's more of a prestige thing. They want to be known as independent and remain independent. Notre Dame is in the Epstein files, is why they refused to join a conference. Thank you for the donation. Now, Pritzker is definitely not the fave for 2028, man. I don't see Pritzker doing anything. Pritzker is not a good fit for the Democrats. He's a fat billionaire. It just doesn't make sense to me. Fortunately, Katie Britt simps for Israel. Well, that's welcome to Congress.
He said.
Make your mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets, he said.
Yeah, so they're talking about the deaths, and Trump. That's Trump confirming he has an obligation to go in because of the amount of crime in Chicago. That's what Trump says. You wonder what the Trump is dead, blowing on people will be talking about after this press conference. Fake Trump AI. It doesn't matter. They're on to the next thing already. They're on to the next thing. There's no appeasing a group of people like that. They're on to whatever's next. Whatever the next Trump theory is. Probably back to the Epstein stuff. I know a bunch of Epstein files got released. This is what I'll say on that. People talk about it. The Epstein stuff is whatever, man. The administration has lost a lot of trust. So no matter what they release, it's going to be seen as people saying, oh, it's carefully combed through to make sure Trump isn't implicated in any of it. And that's just the reality of it. So they'll release stuff. If anything big comes out, I think it would be a big thing, and it would, maybe a politician. But anything that gets released, people are going to be saying, because this administration has lost the people's trust, at least on this issue. There's not going to be, well, now they're transparent. It's like the Maxwell interview they did. Nobody really believes that. She wants some type of pardon. She already got moved to a cushiony jail. She says, well, Trump wasn't involved at all. She said Bill Clinton wasn't involved at all. She said, it's like she's doing appeasement to try and get her sentence shorter. Do you think there will be anything on Trump from Epstein victims testifying? Probably not, no. I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe they said, oh, she had a relationship with Epstein, but I don't think it would be anything that would cause Trump to have, it wouldn't be criminal. Of course, the judge blocks Trump. It looks really bad for Dems when Trump goes in to clean up these blue seas. But it's not even, honestly, at its core level, anything Trump does is going to be met with liberal opposition. And the thing is they get rewarded for it. And especially now where you've got Pritzker and Newsom and all these people trying to be the leader of the party or trying to get their name out there for 2028, the value in having a public feud with Trump, it's priceless to have a public feud with Trump and be the like spearheaded as a liberal, because all liberals just hate Trump. The base is just, so if you go against Trump, you're standing up to the bully, and they're trying to position themselves. So this is like dynamo for Pritzker to go against this and trying to be a leader. Everyone knows he wants to run for 2028. Who do you got later this month, Oregon or Penn State? It's tough. I mean, we haven't really seen much from Oregon yet to really say. I think it's going to be a hard game for Oregon, though, man. I think Penn State is due for a good whiteout win. And plus they returned everyone, basically. This is like their year. I think probably Penn State was like 7-point favorites I saw in the early line in that game. Trump calls for teachers across America to be trained and armed.
These lunatics that we're dealing with, but I don't think so. I've thrown out the concept. We have great teachers that love our children. The parents love the children. Teachers love the children too. And if you took a small percentage of those teachers that were in the military, that were distinguished in the military, that were in the National Guard, et cetera, and you let them carry. That's something that a lot of people like. I sort of liked it. I'd have to be studied, but they're trained. They know about weapons. You can't do it with every teacher because most teachers don't know, but I always thought that would be an alternative.
Yeah, that seems like a problem, though, because if you just arm like 1 or 2 per building, what if they're not near the suspect? Belichick already on the hot seat? No, he's not. I mean, where does North Carolina go from here anyways? It's not like they have this great football program. They're going to give Belichick the time that he wants. I mean, it just depends. If it goes badly, I don't think he's going to want to stick around, honestly. You see the White House's post on COVID? No, I never saw their post on COVID. I haven't heard about that. At this point, just have people that are in the military that aren't active combat zones. Yeah, I don't know if that fixes it either, because there's a lot of schools. Are you going to be able to have enough to be able to patrol them? That would be an interesting, have like a specialist at a school. I wonder, the cost of that and things like that, if that could be done legitimately. But even something like that, are they going to be able to catch it early enough? Because it's... UNC has nobody on the team. At least give the guy a couple of years. But I mean, with the portal, you'd think they'd be able to remake the team a little bit, especially not get blown up by TCU at home. But I mean, I think you don't want to overreact to it. It's his first game.
Mark Shervinsky tipped $19.99 through Super Chat. Thanks for the daily streams, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate the donation. Thoughts on Jordan Hudson? His girlfriend, Belichick's 24-year-old, girlfriend. She's a gold digger. It's just a weird dynamic. I guess, just an awkward dynamic. There were recruiting stations in nearly every town in the U.S. Just rotate the recruiters in shifts, and you'd have the NCO monitoring threats. Not a bad idea. I mean, it would probably help deter it, if anything. But yeah, there would have to be something done across the board. Because there has to be something done. I mean, there has to be some type of action taken to try and stop this. Like, legitimate action.
Have you spoken with President Putin?
Yeah, I don't want to. I have learned things that will be very interesting. I think in the next few days you'll find out.
Will there be any consequences if there isn't some type of announcement of a meeting with President Putin and President Zelensky?
Yeah, there will be. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what they do and what happens. I'm watching it very closely. Last week they lost 7,000 between the two countries. 7,313 soldiers, to be somewhat exact. For no reason whatsoever. And they're Russian and they're Ukrainian, but, you know, they're soldiers. I want to see it end. Yeah.
Did you see Trump truthed the strike on the cartels boat? I saw he made a message about it.
And they got it. Peter?
President Trump, something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I
You
didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff.
I'm glad it's
Well, it's fake news. You know, it's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, you know, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that is true. It is Labor Day weekend. I think it was just because it was like 3 or 4 straight days where there was no public appearance or something. But I mean, you could see him on golf courses, so I don't know. You know, it's like people have to find something to obsess over. When the news cycle is dry, they have to conjure something up and say, well, Trump must be dead, or a lot of it is just liberals hoping, honestly. Now, I don't agree that Belichick sucks. That's not an accurate statement. Just because he wasn't great in Cleveland. I mean, even relative to some other coaches in Cleveland, he had more success. But that his defenses were amazing. I mean, it wasn't just Brady's offenses. You know, Brady has no control over the team defense. Belichick's a defensive coach. The narrative has been set. The nation will be racked by some weird false flag BS. What's something to Trump? You think something will happen to Trump because there's this narrative that he's not doing well? No, hopefully not. JD Vance, I didn't see this.
Lobbied the president hard to put it in Ohio, but he said these people behind us, these Alabamas, are just too powerful and too persuasive, and so it's in Alabama. But as Tommy said, this is exactly the right place for Space Force and Space Command. I think Americans ought to appreciate the fact that you can't win the battle of the future unless you control the skies. The cyber security, the communications, the entire infrastructure of the battle in the 21st century will be in space. So it was a visionary move in the first administration for the president to set up Space Force, and I think an equally visionary move to make sure that Space Force is right where it should be in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you, sir. Lobbied the president hard to put it.
Yeah, they moved it from a liberal state to a Republican state. So I don't know, they moved it from Colorado to Alabama, the space base or the Space Force, whatever. That was the big announcement. Trump said he was going to make a big announcement at 2 o'clock. That's what it was.
Administration, you established the Space Force at a time when we knew we had to be looking to that domain of space.
Typhoon, thanks, man. You ever get sponsorship offers for your videos? Yeah, I do get decent amount. Not as much now, but I used to get. I'm getting like, the betting ones now and stuff. When you do sports videos, you constantly get the betting ones. You get like VPN offers a lot. You get some other offers like the ground news offers, things like that.
You also reestablished Spacecom to ensure that priority was put in place, and you, through the Air Force, independently identified that Huntsville, Alabama was the right place to put it. For other reasons, in the next administration under Biden, they decided to move it somewhere else. Well, during that time, the DoD Inspector General, the Government Affairs Office, they did their own assessments, and where did they say Spacecom should go? Huntsville, Alabama. So what you're doing today, Mr. President, is restoring it to precisely where it should be based on what the Space Force, the Air Force, your leadership believes will give us strategic advantage in the future. That is Huntsville, Alabama. We are way ahead in space.
So Hegseth says they moved it to Colorado because it's a blue state under Biden. Now it's coming back to Alabama. Thing is that the president has filled the void left behind by woke Hollywood and stale games compared to a decade ago. You're sure everyone is watching Trump? Well, yeah, well, he is the president. I mean, I do think Trump is a different level of a figure, even, on top of being the president, just in terms of the way it's transpired with him in politics since 2015. So if something happened, I mean, it would be just... But if anything happened to any president, it would be horrific and it'd be a problem, so... Would you ever make a sponsored video if it's a product you'd actually use? I don't like doing sponsored stuff, man. I just think I just don't want to read the sponsorship. Like, it I think it's... I mean, I understand you make some money for the sponsorships and stuff, but I never like doing that. South Florida should be in the top 25. I don't really think so. I mean, I could understand, they crushed Boise State, but... Sponsored by Dr. Pepper. I don't drink Dr. Pepper anymore, that's the problem. If you make good money from YouTube anyway, what's the point of a sponsor? Yeah, sponsors do pay more per 1,000 views, a lot more. That's why people do sponsors. What's the difference between Space Force and Space Command? The command is the actual base. A force signals an actual group of people, I think. The command would be like the base. The force would be a people or a defense type system. I don't know, man. I just trying to explain. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Pritzker walking clip. Yeah, no, I have seen that when the lady tells them about the amount of crime or the amount of people that were killed. Macron fumes at Rubio for suspending visas for Palestinian officers. Yeah, well,
you're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago.
Let's shift the blame and I'm not going to take any accountability. I don't want accountability. You have a crime problem in your city. What do you think about that? Well, it's like he says, let's shift it. Let's look at what President Trump is doing. So it's an immediate shift. Have you guys seen the thing that's going on with Alex Jones and Owen Schroyer? I like Alex. I don't know about Owen.
Sean Cole tipped $35.47 through Super Chat. DG always keeps it real and doesn't shill himself for profit. Every dollar donated sponsors one illegal alien deportation. USA emoji.
The whale. Sean, I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Google is up after Judge ruled they don't have to sell browser. Bet the judge traded the stock beforehand. That would be a risky play to rule on something that you're trading. Wouldn't they? That would be investigated, man. Yeah, somebody said, "What's with all the verified accounts entering?" I thought if you had a check mark, you had 100K followers or 100K subscribers, but I learned that's not the case. That's not the case. I guess you can get it for less. They should be doing the walking interview on the south side. Right. That's the thing, is there's got to be nice areas in Chicago, and they always do. That's what Pritzker was out like a few days ago. He's like, look how nice it is. It's like, dude, you know that's not the bad part. Why are you being so obtuse? Is TikTok's time almost up? No, they keep getting extensions. They're going to be sold, I think. They're going to be sold to Oracle from what I heard, but that was a while ago. But they're trying to save TikTok. There's some deal in place or something, man. I'm not a big fan of TikTok. TikTok is a woman's app. If you look at the demographics on it, it is pretty insane the amount of women use TikTok. That's what because I remember seeing that sometime. They're like, the difference. There's been some new 9/11 footage dropping lately. Also, a new video. You just saw someone visiting the World Trade Center the week. What do you mean dropping? Maybe you just haven't seen it. I mean, I've very likely seen probably everything you're talking about. If there's new 9/11 footage that drops, it's probably going to be a story to a degree, unless it's something that's, I guess it depends what it is. Never liked the walking interviews. What's the point? Well, it's more of they want to bring the person with them. They want to bring the viewer with them on their walk, and it's more personable. And yeah, I don't think Vine's coming back. They're trying to bring it back. Elon Musk is trying to bring Vine back as some type of AI thing. Not exactly sure.
crosswalks safer. However, they say their First Amendment rights were violated. What's your reaction to that? And also now it's up to the state attorney's office to file charges against these three.
Well, you don't have a First Amendment right to commandeer someone else's property. You have a First Amendment right to paint your own property and knock yourself out if that's what you want to do. But when you have a state crosswalk or a state road, the law in the state of Florida is now that there's not markings or that's not going to be used for those purposes. FDOT issued a memo to explain that a couple months ago. Everybody's been on notice about that. But, you know, this is kind of an instructive civics lesson here. You do not have a right to take somebody else's property for your messaging purposes. Like, that's never been what the First Amendment has said. And, you know, we just got to be clear on that. And I'd also say, you know, I've approved a lot of money for a Pulse Memorial. Where is it? Why haven't they gotten that done? A lot of.
Yeah, so they're repainting all these LGBT crosswalks and they're angry about it. They say it's a First Amendment thing. DeSantis says it's like it's state property. Chelsea Clinton, daughter of Hillary Clinton, is seriously considering running for U.S. Congress. I thought it would have been president. You think DeSantis will run in? Yeah, I mean, DeSantis, he could run again. I'm not sure how well it would go. Probably not very well with Vance in his way. But he could run again and try to get in 28. It seems like he's got some of his favorability back within the party. But again, if you're going against the MAGA candidate, it's a challenge. Can you see this? Have a good night. Yeah, no, I can see it, man. Albania banned TikTok. You seen the new Chicago Fire FC stadium? No, I haven't. Those soccer stadiums, they tend to be a bit, you know, very small, like around 25,000 seats. Thoughts on Zoomer Historian? Have you ever watched it? Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of his stuff. Like revisionist history tends to be a very challenging thing because history in and of itself is based on perspective. So it's none of us were alive back in the 30s and 40s, and I mean, you tell a different perspective, but I tend to think it's, some of this stuff is 22,000 seats. Some of the stuff seems a bit biased, honestly, man. I don't know. What am I looking at? They're fucking changing, it's a LinkedIn profile. You think DeSantis might be a dark horse giving the Groypers bashing? Yeah, dude, I think you're giving that too much. You're giving that too much credence. I don't even think they would like DeSantis. There's no way. There's no way that DeSantis would win because of that. It's just no. Vance will flood the country with Indians, and Rubio will flood the country with illegal immigrant. No, there's no proof that Vance is gonna do it because of his wife. Come on, you got to see what Vance's policy is. Just because he's got an Indian wife doesn't mean the country's gonna be flooded with Indian immigrants. It just that doesn't make. I mean, there's so many liberal white people. Why are they flooding the country with illegal immigrants? Why did Biden do it? He's a white dude. Why would he flood the country with illegal immigrants? I mean, it just doesn't. That logic doesn't work. How about Ryan Roth being allowed to represent himself? Yeah, he kind of got memory hold, didn't he? The Ukraine wacko. Dude was obsessed with Ukraine, recruiting people. What is his story? He's obsessed with the war in Ukraine. He wants to recruit people to fight for Ukraine. And then he goes and tries to kill Trump at a golf course and tries to escape, and they chase him down. And yeah, I mean, he's alive, so maybe they could get something out of him, but Trump denies he's dead. But that's come on. That's got to be a troll. That's a troll. NBC worse than CNN. I don't watch either of them, so I don't really know. Yeah, I saw the Clinton news. I mean, not the cowbells. There's not even they're just banging a pot. That dude's 4'6". It's over, brother. It's done. Chelsea Clinton. Such a small brain take. Indian wife will flood the country with Indian sport. Yeah, dude, that I don't think they're gonna be able to. There's no way that is gonna land onto people. It's not. If you put one iota of thought into it, it just doesn't make sense. The stuff that they could get Vance on is the Palantir stuff, because that's a lot more shadowy and a lot harder to disprove. You know, Vance's connections with that. You know, including Israel. So that to me seems like it would be hard to disprove. But the whole stuff with him having an Indian wife, so he's going to import a bunch of H-1B in Indians. It's kind of like with Ramaswamy. Like, Ramaswamy is not going to be able to control the amount of Indians that come into Ohio. I don't think as the governor you control that. I'm not a big Ramaswamy fan, but thoughts on the cowbells for Mississippi State? I mean, they're annoying, but listen, that's a tradition. That's a tradition. When Mississippi State is good, that's definitely a big thing they do. Did you see the news about Labor Day anti-Trump protests? It was so embarrassing. The liberal protests flop every time, like the no day. Yeah, I didn't even see news about their protests against Trump on Labor Day, honestly. Those got zero coverage. Those didn't even get coverage by liberal media, I don't think. Katie Britt, yeah, Katie Britt is cute. The Epstein news. Motion to discharge. It's filed, forcing the release of the Epstein files. What do the Epstein files entail?
I was the second co-sponsor on Thomas Massey's resolution. After reading the entire resolution, I think it's very good. It's well written. It protects the victims, and it provides the transparency that the country deserves, and most importantly, the survivors deserve. Yes, I will be proudly signing the discharge petition.
Why is it important to do this in addition to what the Oversight Committee is doing?
Me personally, and I believe in transparency on all levels, and this shouldn't have been a battle, and unfortunately, it has been one. And you know, as a woman myself.
Yeah, so she's talking about it. Maybe this is the compromise to get the administration to do it, and people could say it's transparent. We need the NFL picks. What do you mean? When I pick all the games, you mean? Yeah, the whole Vance thing. I mean, dude, is it even? This is gonna be a big thing. Why do we even have to talk about it right now? I don't see the need to talk about it, honestly. If it's not even the midterms, what's the point of talking about Vance's 2028 chances and trying to defend the situation with his wife? I don't see. It's far too early for that, anyways. MTG, we're really going there. I'm gonna pass on MTG. Gotta pass.
Right now? The biggest thing that stands out to me is the victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also too following up on that. There are some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it? And so there's more to follow, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily. But I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein. So that's hard to hear.
Would you sign the discharge petition?
So they're trying to get him discharged. They've signed a petition to get it done. Maybe this is the compromise the administration needs. Maybe this is you know. But I just think no matter what, they've already kind of spoiled themselves on having. I mean, this is the Republican wing that's been more critical of Trump. So maybe that would make it more real. But there's always going to be the thought that, well, they're just releasing stuff. They're cherry picking things that they want to release. Went to get a pizza from a locally owned operated Domino's, and it's all Jeets and Mohammed's. What a major city, or is it like a how big, like a mid-sized city, big city? If it's a big city, it doesn't surprise me. If it's like a smaller city, it's just a sign of the times, I guess. It's too late. Yeah, I know it is. That's the thing. It's like, what am I supposed to really say about the Epstein stuff? You can't really, when you fumble it like this, it's hard to really pick up the pieces in any meaningful way. It's 8:55 a.m. in Belgium. Dude, look how dude, the way that these Eastern countries, man. I could even see it from here compared to our military parade.
the people who are attending are the focus. Kim Jong-un from North
Look at how
Korea
they've got like
and, Russia's
segmented
President Vladimir
different stanchions.
Putin. It has been shunned largely by Western leaders. In fact, the only countries represented are Serbia and Slovakia. More than 50,000 spectators are gathered in Tiananmen Square, expected to see aerial displays, marching platoons of the People's Liberation Army, crowds there and other crowds there.
Well, I mean, this honestly isn't that surprising when you think about it. NATO is extremely powerful, so they want to. There's a group in the East that's realizing they might have to combat it. But I mean, it's all, to me, Russia and China are just, they're only partners because of practicality. We've already seen that. Nancy Mace met with Epstein survivors, said she had a full-blown panic attack.
And that is why, as your next mayor of this city, I will freeze the rent for more than 250,000 rent-stabilized apartments. And that...
Yeah, in 5 years, they're all going to be the city-run shithole slums. When you freeze rent. I mean, you can freeze rent in very small areas and maybe, but if it's a widespread thing, it's not going to work. He was not born in the country, yet he's going to be the mayor of New York City? Huh? What? Low IQ Zoomer bots. It's like liberal 20-year-old women that like that type of stuff. Because everyone's equal. Everyone's average together. You can do that. Now, we'll see if he ends up winning. I mean, it's very possible. But to turn her apartment into a slum, well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of incentive to renovate it. We can't raise the rent. Of course, it's going to be renovated several times. It's going to be renovated maybe by cockroaches. We'll see what ends up happening. What about the landlords? It's still their property. They're capitalist scum. But that's what they would say.
First, I want to address the president's unhinged remarks a few minutes ago, begging me to call him. No, I will not call the president, asking him to send troops to Chicago. I've made that clear already. Fighting crime requires coordination. We have experienced nothing like that over the past several days and weeks. So in the absence of significant federal coordination, we've gathered information from unauthorized patriotic officials inside the government and from well-sourced reporters about Donald Trump's plan, which is to deploy armed military personnel to the streets of Chicago. I'm aware that the President of the United States likes to go on television and beg me to call and ask him for troops. I find this extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. I also have experience asking the president for assistance, just to have the rug pulled out from underneath me when execution meets reality. I refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump again. What I want are the federal dollars that have been promised to Illinois and Chicago for violence prevention programs that have proven.
So he's not going to call Trump, but he wants a handout from the U.S. federal government. So there it is. So he did the whole minute exercise of how he's standing up for Trump and we don't need help here. But what I want is I want money. Give me money. And so we can enact our you know what, dude? When you put people in jail when they commit crimes, especially felonies, you need to keep them in jail. Don't let them out just because of, ooh, there's some type of protected minority status or BLM said so in 2020. You need to keep them in jail. I think that would probably solve a lot. He's like, you know what? I don't want any help, but and then a minute later, the truth comes out.
To work. That is money that Illinois taxpayers send to the federal government. And it's an insult to any and every citizen to suggest that any governor should have to beg the president of any political party for
Holy Cross joined the FBS. Really? Are they considering it?
Resources owed their people.
Do you see this? Do you see what happened here?
It's like Anakin Skywalker's become Darth Vader.
Can we sing a song?
Hey, when I go on the air, I'm letting you have it, Schroyer. You stabbed your brother in this operation in the back, and you're a fucking liar. Oh yeah, I mean, I agree.
I didn't realize how upset you were.
It's totally normal to go and do innuendo that you've been censored and controlled and got to go because you're talking bad about Trump and this stuff, and then later, hours later, go, oh no, he didn't censor me. All set up to boost himself off of lying about me. I don't ever get involved in infighting, but I've known somebody 10 years and they've been my friend, but he's gotten really dark, didn't talk to the crew the last 2 years. And so it's just like a different person. I'm not here to be the villain for somebody's lie. So wait till you hear his phone call to me yesterday. He literally talked to me like I was a crack whore and he was a pimp. He's like, yeah, well, if you're desperate, pay me more, I'll stay. But I'm going to promote my new show on InfoWars, huh?
Let's take the high road.
Really nice. I might do a week. I was like, man, this is really hurting my feelings, dude. No, it's all right. You don't have to come in. I hung up, started fucking crying. And then he goes on fucking air and lies about me. Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. I won't fucking take people stabbing me in the back anymore. Fuck you. Get ready.
Dude. Well, I think Owen Schroyer insinuated that he was fired. And then people were saying, well, it was because Owen Schroyer was talking about Israel. And then Alex said, no, that's not true. He quit. Yeah, I'm with Alex, honestly. I like Alex, man. I don't think Alex would just fire Owen Schroyer because he was talking bad about Trump. But that's what people were saying. He got fired because he was negative against Trump. Dude, I remember some of those. The Bilderberg, dude, I remember one of them. I'm sure it's been deleted because it was on his YouTube channel. He went to one of the meetings and he went inside and he was like, this is what they do. They give they give the population little cheese and crackers and then slam the door shut. It was like I don't even know what it was. It was like some meeting or something, and there was this receptionist lady that was like chasing him around the building because I guess he wasn't, they were trying to force him out. I'd like to find that video. I don't think I'd be able to find it. Remember when he crashed the Young Turks? Yeah, that was during the RNC in 2016. But the Young Turks, when Trump was going against Hillary. Owen is right, it's not a cult. So, yeah, but he's misconstruing it. He didn't fire him because he was negative against Trump. That's not true. That doesn't sound like Alex at all. I think he was trying to launch his independent career, Schroyer was, honestly. What's crazy is that if the election was tied 269-269 in 2020, Trump would probably be president, Kamala would be vice president. Yeah, I mean, That was an interesting scenario. I remember that. Alabama football is too gay to compete with Florida State. It's like a parody. Jason Whitlock. Thoughts on the war game plan for Venezuela? Well, I don't know what, I mean, what is the exact war game plan? I have no clue what it is. It seems like they're targeting cartel operations within Venezuela from what I see. I don't think it has as much to do about the oil reserves as people are letting on. It really does seem like it's a cartel operation because that destabilizes Venezuela. But also they have, a bad relationship with the socialist leader in Venezuela. So they're trying to get rid, they put a bounty on him. So they're trying to get rid of him. And whoever gets put in, hopefully will have a better relationship with the United States, I guess. And, because it affects it, and there's Venezuelan immigrants that come to the United States. But I don't know, man. Who went woke? Alabama football went woke. Now they're going broke. I mean, what are we even doing? Bama goes woke. Now they're broke.
Commemorating the victory in that war, in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, as well as the World Anti-Fascist War. And now the leaders are arriving at that expansive viewing platform up on the Tiananmen rostrum.
Some of the veterans of the War of Resistance were given their own viewing spots on top of the Tiananmen rostrum. Crowds are welcoming China's top leader, as well as international dignitaries. We are seeing veterans sitting there, and President Xi Jinping and international dignitaries are shaking hands with a 99-year-old veteran, 100-year-old veteran from the 8th Route Army, 94-year-old veteran from the 8th Route Army, 102-year-old veteran from the new 8th Route Army, and from South China Guerrilla Force, 100-year-old veteran from the Kuomintang.
Yeah, that's basically all the news, honestly. Iowa or Iowa State? Iowa State, probably. JD Vance traveling to Minneapolis tomorrow to pay respects to the victims in the shooting. Xi Jinping aspires to be the 21st century modern Mao Zedong. Would be curious to see who would replace him if he passes away and how they would lead China afterwards. I know there's been a lot of talk about something happening to him. I guess we'll just have to see with their line of succession. This is crazy that they arrest people for offensive posts. That's so dystopian. Undeniable that dictators have aura. You think Trump is the only non-dictator leader? Matching aura. Well, power creates aura in a lot of senses. So dictators are going to have a lot of power. They're going to get aura. England is overrun with migrants. They've been overrun with migrants forever. For many years. I don't know. Seems like they're waking up. Midterms for Republicans are going to be a disaster. Too early to say that. I mean, it depends on a number of things. But it is possible the midterms don't go well. But even still, they would keep the Senate. Trump delivers a message to Xi Jinping. Saying that Putin and Kim Jong-un conspire against the U.S. Trump gives a little warning shot during their military parade. Mark Carney has negative aura. Yeah, Mark Carney should have never he should have never won that election. He didn't even live in Canada. He didn't live in Canada for 10 years. And then he comes back and wins. I mean, come on. You see Belichick get blown out? Yeah, I saw that. You'd rather drink with Putin, Xi, or Kim? We would be a language barrier. It'd be a problem with all three of them. Probably Putin. Putin can speak English, so I'd go with Putin. Max Johnson, UNC QB, is the same age as Belichick's girlfriend. Yeah, I saw that. You ever had Keller's Hamburgers in Dallas? They have the best grilled cheese. I never been to Dallas. I never been to Texas. Well, I've been to Texas, but not for a long period of time. Canada is like if Reddit formed a country. Yeah, they would be very Reddit adjacent. A lot of what Canada believes. Now they might be getting too conservative. I think they're getting too conservative for Reddit. What happened to Stetson Bennett? Doesn't translate. He didn't have an NFL arm. He didn't have an NFL build. Couldn't handle the Texas heat. I wouldn't want to, honestly. I'm not a fan of that climate. But I mean, we get 90-degree days here too. But it's a lot hotter there year round. Will Howard, will he play the season as a backup? I mean, I don't know. Is he the second string or third string? I guess it depends on that. I think he's the third string, right? Yeah, he's probably not going to play. What's the NFL's biggest problem? You think the league has gotten too soft? The NFL's biggest problem is they don't have pocket pass or QBs. They don't have any premier quarterbacks, really. That's the NFL's biggest problem. Did you hear G Fuel is closing down? G Fuel, like the the energy stuff? I think we might be talking about different things. Well, Howard might be fourth string. Yeah, there's no way he's playing at all. If he's fourth string, I don't know if they'd put him on the practice squad at that point, right? Will North Korea actually be taken seriously as a threat? You mean we attacked Iran? But with all the stuff they said we haven't bombed their nuclear sites at all. North Korea, there's nothing. They're so disconnected from the rest of the world. And North Korea is not seen as a big enemy of Israel. That's part of the reason why what Trump was doing what he was doing, and that's why people say Trump is so in bed with Israel. So North Korea is a different story entirely, but they're disconnected. North Korea is. If something happens between them and South Korea, and it seems like it's a matter of time, then there's probably going to be Western involvement. Breaking news. What is the breaking news? Trump hosting new right-wing president of Poland. That'll be positive for Trump, with how right-wing Poland's been. And they'll talk about immigration, I'm sure. They are a serious threat. No, they're not. North Korea? No, they're not. They're not. They would not be classified as a serious threat at all. Should the U.S. protect South Korea? Well, there's the North Korea they would have to understand the devastation they would face if they did something significant to South Korea. They've isolated themselves. NIL has erased the SEC and Clemson's stranglehold on college football. Yeah, but Clemson was never going to keep that up. Clemson never recruited at that level to where they could keep that up anyways. Clemson was always, to me, like a 4 or 5 year mini dynasty type thing. They weren't going to keep that up with or without NIL coming into the picture. Plus, they didn't really embrace the transfer portal. That was another issue for them. But they were also helped by how bad the ACC is. I mean, the ACC was better in the mid-2010s. The FSU was better, but all they need is a delivery system. Just give them nuclear material. Yeah, I mean, so they're gonna nuke a country. What do you think happens to them? I mean, it's impractical. It's the same thing with Iran, but Iran was done because of Israel. That's why the U.S. was so involved. So North Korea is gonna nuke us. You think that's gonna be good for their country? They're gonna unprovoked nuke us, really? And again, it's the same thing with Iran. But again, Iran is more because of Israel. North Korea, there's really no. They're going to threaten to nuke the United States, the #1 superpower. You think Iran is more rational than North Korea? Yeah, no, I agree with that. North Korea, I think North Korea is going to get themselves blown up, but it's just because the way it's the way they're structured. I mean, they're just so power oriented and authoritarian. How much longer till Carney calls? I don't know what's going on with that situation. Are there still heavy? I think there are still tariffs on Canada's removed their tariffs against us on some of the sectors, but we still have our tariffs on them. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I think Canada is suffering pretty significantly. Canada's economy is doing very badly compared to basically every other Western economy, and not even just because of Trump. Over the last 10 years, if you look at their total growth, and this is all relative, like, and scaled based on the per capita population, they are horrifically lagging. Canada is. And that's with them bringing all these Indians and these people that were, it's like they were going to tech everything up, and they're low wage workers, and it's done the opposite. Their economy is lagging significantly Canada's behind every other Western country. If you look at, I've seen several charts, just GDP and just in general, because you think you bring in those low paid workers, it would raise the GDP significantly. Thoughts on QB quality in college? Well, it doesn't really matter. With college football, it's just more entertaining. I obviously the quality of and it's a lot different. In the NFL, you do have to be extremely good. College, you can kind of get away with it with the running quarterback, stuff like that. So I think college, you got to know, it's just a more entertaining product in general. The NFL, to me, I just think it's just not what it used to be. It's just not. Do you think it would be crazy for China to take over North Korea? It's just destabilization. It's really not needed. What does North Korea really have? I mean, that would just be seen as a major escalation. It would make China's adversaries, more on edge against them and turn against them in global trade. I don't see that as a positive for China. You've been watching the Tucker Putin interview. You're 45 minutes in. It's over 2 hours long. Those interviews are so tough. They're just tough for me to follow. When you have the translator thing, it's very hard. And I'm not trying to give an excuse to Tucker for that interview, because Putin immediately hijacked the interview. He went into it wasn't even an interview, really. It was Putin trying to explain the history of Ukraine and Russia, and kind of set up the conversation to where, well, Russia is right to take Ukraine because Ukraine is rightfully a part of Russia. But it's hard, dude. You're going to Moscow, Russia to interview Putin. There's a language barrier. Putin wants to speak in Russian. He immediately starts talking for like 20 minutes straight, uninterrupted. So it's a challenge to try and get him on any serious questions when that happens. Him giving a history lesson for 2 hours. It wasn't even an interview. That just becomes, a way for Putin to spread propaganda. And he used Carlson to do it, and he knew a lot of conservatives were going to watch. So it became a problem for Carlson. I mean, you give him credit for going to do the interview, but Putin is right, though. Ukraine is Russian for all of history. Well, I think it's disputed on the way in which Ukraine became it. But yeah, I mean, for much of the history, especially prior to even 91, they were basically a puppet state when they became independent. So no, 100%. I mean, the United States has never had something like that happen. It's like if we lost a state, obviously we would want it back. So what happens if Trump cuts off China? Well, we cannot cut off China. In what way? Because we trade with them, and they produce things that we don't have right now. So, I mean, we could limit trade even more with them, but it's a big problem when we were having that trade war. The amount of stuff that they produce, especially for like batteries and stuff, the rare earth refinement, we don't do any of that. So we cannot really untether ourselves from China without having a serious problem. I mean, now if we set up industry in the United States and then we untether ourselves. You have school tomorrow? Well, I mean, good luck at school, man. Why are some Republicans supporting Newsome over Vance? Now that's not a real thing, man. That's just that's rage bait. That's what I would say that is rage bait. But also it's like, okay, so you're gonna support Newsom over Vance in 2025. I mean, what am I supposed like? Am I supposed to care about this? This is a hypothetical matchup that may or may not happen in 2.5 years. Like, were you bored? You know, this is not. If you've been in politics long enough, it's like it's irrelevant talking about Newsom versus Vance right now. It's just dead air, like wasted. Like there's no point. Thoughts on what happened to Jeb Bush since 2016? Well, Jeb obviously had a terrible campaign, and I guess Cape went out of the limelight. He went out of the limelight at that point. I mean, he was the favorite going into it. He's just not a great politician. Not even. I think that's even being charitable. Why is there so much hate on Vance in general? You think it's unwarranted since he's a really good. It's Groyper counter signaling on Vance because of his connections to Palantir mainly. I mean, this is what I'll say about Vance. I think Vance is really impressive and intelligent and can articulate himself really well. You know, whatever happens with him and the Palantir stuff, I don't know. He's, you know, it's hard to kind of explain that away because it's like they tether it to you and then obviously every politician is going to be have a funding source, you know? Unless it's like an ideal situation and you're already rich and you fund it yourself, but that's certainly not Vance. Arch Manning is the Jeb Bush of the Manning family. That's a meme. Yeah, but I don't think so. I think Arch will be good, dude. But it is kind of funny that he was rated the number one. Like, I honestly don't. There's no way he'd be the number one overall player in that. What was it? Whatever recruiting class he was in. If he wasn't, you know, a Manning, he might be a high 4-star, but better chance of happening a Democrat state going red like California or New York, or getting a new state added like Puerto Rico or one of the territories. I don't think any of the territories can really be added. I think it would only be Puerto Rico. The territories don't have enough population to be added. I don't think it's viable. So you're saying California or New York going red, or I think it would probably be although I don't know. I feel like there's a low chance of Puerto Rico happening. Puerto Rico it's going to be a Democrat. So Democrats would want Puerto Rico, Republicans wouldn't. But even the people of Puerto Rico don't really want to join the United States as a state. They would lose a lot of the tax benefits. So, but I can't see California ever being conservative again, based off the demographic makeup. I mean, New York, outside of New York City, now you're talking, but. Vance seems principled and capable of articulating MAGA for the general public. Yeah, that's why I think Vance would do pretty well with college-educated voters. He's able to maneuver around talking points in a way that impresses people. California can go red if it wasn't for San Francisco. LA as well. Vance seems like he realized being... The other thing with Vance, though, you have to understand, he was a never Trump guy. I mean, that's... so to have this rebrand, it is kind of an insult. Like, you're going to have this crazy awakening and go from it. Because I think the never Trump Republicans are it's like, you're a never Trump Republican, that's the party now. Like, the party has changed. It's from the neocon conservatives to the MAGA You know, that's what the party is. So if you're a never Trump Republican, it's almost like you're a Democrat because the party is Trump. You're a never Trump Republican, so you're a neocon Bush Republican. Like, I mean, I guess you could say, well, he grew up and stuff and he grew out of it. California is a majority minority state. Oh yeah, you should look the demographics of California. Even since the '80s are insane. That when Reagan won it in the '80s, the demographics have just gotten. I mean, no one. Then the Democrats win it, and they're like, "Look at how popular we are." Well, there's a massive component at play in reason you win some of these states. I mean, the demographics have been turned on their head over the course of 30 years, and this is not a lot. This is a lot of people. It's a big state. He wasn't that hardcore never Trump. I know, but just the idea of being never Trump. I mean, 2016 is a political eternity, so. But that's one of those things to where it's like, that seems a bit ridiculous. Then he becomes the VP. Shame you never went there during the peak Lake 20. I went there in 2016 to San Francisco. San Francisco was full of gay pride flags in 2016, and but it is, you go to all the tourist spots and it's a fine vacation, I guess, expensive vacation. What's crazier is that there was a Republican mayor in New York City for around 20 years. Yeah. Well, the mayoral races can be different. They can be different rather than the statewide in terms of the way in which people vote. Can New Jersey go red? I don't know about New Jersey going red in 28. I think it's a bit early to say. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be real tough. It's not impossible, I guess. Could you see Barron versus one of the Obama girls 2044? Yeah, I don't know about any of that, man. I wouldn't be able to. 2044. You doing NFL Week 1 picks? I don't know, man. I know I would probably do pretty well, but I just with the NFL, I guess I could do it and but we'll have to see see how I'm feeling tomorrow because I have to put it all together and stuff. So next state to turn red is New Mexico. Probably New Hampshire or something like that, honestly. New Mexico it's still heavy liberal. I mean, it's gotten a little bit closer, I guess, but it would be like New Mexico, New Hampshire, New Jersey, all the news, New York. No, not New York, but Minnesota. I never think Minnesota. Minnesota, you could argue, but it's unlikely. $1 money line parlay every game winner. Yeah, that's a fool's errand. You're never gonna win that. If you lived in Florida, would you vote for Casey DeSantis or Byron Donalds? Well, that's an interesting question. Probably Donalds, but I don't dislike the DeSantis family, but Donalds is the MAGA candidate. Casey DeSantis is continuing the Ron leadership. Ask your Democrat friend. You asked your Democrat friend if they support a country that prioritizes the educated population, and he said yes. Then you told him Republicans are giving tax breaks to the most educated. Well, Trump is giving tax breaks to everyone, but they don't like, the tax breaks for the wealthy people, the corporations. PYTH, solid project, can do a 10x. Is that a crypto? I'll take a look at it if it's a crypto. Is it an altcoin? New Jersey has significantly shifted to the right. Whenever you went to New Jersey around 2020, you just saw Biden signs. After 2023, you rarely ever see signs from local Democrats. Yeah, but I also feel Democrats are probably going to start defending New Jersey. They invested no money into the defense of New Jersey, so they're going to start defending it. And they're going to pump campaign ads into it probably. How many Chinese students did Trump let in today? 6,900. It's an altcoin, PYTH. Let's see if it's on Dex. Dude, it's at $1 billion, brother. A Solana utility play at $1 billion. I'd have to see this on like CoinGecko or something. Fully diluted 1.6. I'm sure it's got some significant utility if it's, Yeah, take a look at Trump. This coin, people have been talking about this. This is like, wow, this coin's gone down significant. Block Street, this is like a play off of, it's like a connection between Wall Street and crypto or something. That's what it's supposed to be. Block on Ethereum, and it's funded, I guess, by Trump's stablecoin. Wow, unstable tether on Ethereum. That's a rug, man. World Liberty Financial. This is Trump's launch. Trump's not talked about it, though. Why should we pay more taxes to give handouts to people who decide not to get a proper education? Well, I mean, in a lot of cases, you could say they have an education, but they're poor because of debt, student loan debt. Fartcoin might be a good entry. Well, it's probably under $1 billion at this point. Yeah. Ronaldo. Did it launch? Nah, it would be on here if the actual Ronaldo coin launched. I don't see it anywhere. Please. This is the JD Vance coin. Not launched by JD Vance or anything. There's an Ethereum JD Vance coin that was going up. I was looking at it. I was like, it's just JD Vance. That's it. JD Vance. It went to 700K. Well, it went to 9 million. Vance. Yeah, if he's the next president, it'll probably do decent. Newsom. Trump corruption coin. This is Gavin Newsom's meme coin. No, I'm kidding. It's not. Newsom was joking about that, man. Come on. Would you participate in debate? DG versus 20 anti-crypto freaks. I mean, I guess. They're probably going to do that with someone, honestly. That would, like on Jubilee. 20 people that are anti-Bitcoin versus Michael Saylor. You can still get on Newsom. Yeah, what if this is actually Newsom's coin and I get inside information? I would buy a ton of it if Newsom came out with a tweet saying it was his. It would probably run to like 50 or 60 million. Maybe more. I don't know. I don't know. Does Newsom have that much clout? ZBCN, look it up. It's the next Stellar gonna 10x. You're telling me it's gonna 10x? The coin's probably already at multi-billions as it is. It's at 4.7 billion, bro. 4.17. Come on, bro. Alright, guys, that's gonna do it for this live stream. I'm gonna end it there. I will be seeing you guys later. It would be hilarious if Newsom launched one, but it would tank. He knows it. Eventually, it would tank completely. Don't leave. I gotta go, man. I gotta go.